Okay, friends, very good evening to all of you. My name is Ramzan Rajani, and in this next 1 hour, or you can say 45 minutes to 1 hour, we are going to learn how do you record and how do you run a macro. In fact, I'm going to also show you how do you edit the macro, means how do you see the codes of a macro, why people use macro, and how do you create the button in the macro. So you will get a complete idea. Even if you have never ever used macro, then you will get a complete idea. So let's take a simple example. So let's say you are working in a company, in a corporate, and on a daily basis, you get some data, you download some data. After downloading some data, you get this type of raw data, means without formatting, very simple data. Now this is a file whose name is macros.xlsx. And in this file, friends, I have three sheets. One is this sheet, which has around 8 records. One is the heading. I have another sheet EX02 in which you have a little bit more records, more column. And I have a third sheet where again I have more records, around 3000 plus records, and I have extra columns. It means all the three data are different. Number of rows, number of columns, everything is different. And now what happens, friends, is on a daily basis, you download the data in your company. Okay. On a daily basis, you download the data in your company. Or let's say on a weekly basis. And after downloading, you do some regular tasks in this. Like you do the data center align, you always make the heading bold as per your company need, you add the borders into it, you sort the data in a proper order. Okay, you change the height and width of the columns and rows. Okay, you delete some unwanted columns, you delete some unwanted records of some city. So I'm trying to say these are the tasks which you do on a regular basis. So instead of doing this on a regular basis, why not to record this? So just record and keep it once. Next time when you download the data from the server, just click on a button and everything will work automatically. And it will be happening without the error. Sometime when you do, you might forget one step in doing, and again you repeat. But in macro, whatever you record, it will work 100% as it is, error free. So now I will quickly open my notepad and I will give you one small sentence that what is macros. So Excel macros recording in running. So macros is nothing but it is used to record all your actions which you perform in Excel. When you go to the Word, it will not be recorded, friends. Remember, okay? So macros is nothing but it is used to record all your actions which you perform in Excel. Now, friends, in macros, you have two levels. Macros has two levels. These are very, very basic thing, theory part. You have to listen to me, okay? Then only you will understand, okay? So macros has two level. One is recording and running level, which we are going to do now, which we will learn now. And second, friends, is the programming, in which there is a programming language with the name VBA 6. Okay. So with the help of codes, you can also automate all your tasks. So what is the difference between recording and programming? With recording, you can record simple macros like copy paste macros, formatting macros, sorting, filter macros. If you will say, no, Ramzan, I wanted to automate fully my finance report. Data is coming from here, then it should put the formula, should put the VLOOKUP on his own, should multiply different sheets in one go or multiple files in one go, then he should create the summary report. If you will tell me all these things, then macros recording is not your answer. Macros programming is your answer. Okay. So if you wanted to do high-end report automation, end-to-end automation, then macros programming will be used. Okay. So these are the two things. Now, there are 3 steps in recording the macro. There are 3 steps in recording the macro. Very, very simple steps that we will come now. And then friends, I will start with practical. You just have to wait for more 30 seconds and then we will start with the practicals. Okay. So the first step in recording a macros is start recording. You have to click on a recording button, which I will just show you now. The second is after clicking on that, we will say do the actions. Whatever task you want, you can do sort, filter, copy, paste, bold, adding border, whatever you want, you can just do. Remember, don't do the formula. It will not work. It will work, but only on the same. If you have more data, it will not work. Then you have to go for programming. I will show you everything. The third step is stop recording. And that's all. Your macro is done. So macro has only 3 steps, friend. Start recording, do the action, stop recording. It's very simple. Now I will come on the actual practical. So now you know the base. What is the base you know? You know. Why do you record a macro? If you do something regularly in the Excel, and if you want, okay, you get bored to do all this 20, 30 tasks, same task you do, monotonous task, then you will record it. That is the use of a macro. Okay, first thing, it's clear in your mind why you are doing macro. Second thing which you come to know, macro has 2 levels. One is recording and running level, and second is the programming level. In this session, we will see recording and running, not the programming. Then the third thing which you come to know was there are 3 steps in recording a macro. Start recording, do the action, stop recording, that's all. And you will say, wow, Ramzan, it's so simple. Okay, let's get started with the practical. Now I request everybody to pay attention on the screen. No WhatsApp, nothing. Just 100% on the screen. Yeah. So I will put my cursor over here, and this data you have got it from the system. Every time you do formatting, this and that. So now my manager told me, Ramzan, why you are doing this regularly? Just record so that next time you don't have to do everything. I said, yes. So how do I record that? The first step, I have put my cursor on A1 cell here. Then I will go to the view tab. Remember here, there is a view tab. And in view tab, friends, on the right hand side here, this is the right sign. See, I have gone to the view tab. In macros, don't click here. This is for running or viewing. You click on this arrow, this drop down, I click on it. And here you get an option, view macro. Now, so I can't view macro. I have not created, so how I will view? And here you get an option, record a macro. Very, very simple. I click on record a macro. And he will ask me, okay, what is the name of a macro? Give some meaningful name to the macro, which you can remember. Don't give your name, Ramzan macro. So what Ramzan macro is, what that macro will do. So give some meaningful name. So I will say, for example, formatting macro. Or just give formatting. Remember not to give like @ or special character in the macro name. Don't give space bar. Just give a very simple name, which you can see the name and can understand what this macro is going to do. That's all. Now, this is very important. Shortcut key. He's asking me, Ramzan, what shortcut you will press or a user will press so that macro works. Like when you say Control P in Excel or anywhere, what comes? Print. The box comes the print. How it comes? Does it come automatically? No. People have designed that, okay, if a person press Control P, then the box should come and it should print. So it's just programmed. So here he's saying, give me a shortcut key that when you will press that shortcut key, then the macro will run, right? So I say M. So I have typed M. Means when I press Control M, my macro is going to run. Remember here not to keep the caps lock on. If you keep a caps lock on, means the caps key is then a capital. Then it will become Control Shift M. Now you see on the screen, it's coming Control Shift M. So your shortcut will become Control Shift M. So I'm saying Control M. Macro will run. Okay, the third thing in the macro. See, I'm going very slow and I will explain you each and every point because the intention of this session is not just to do a session. The intention of this session is to make you understand. So I will explain each and everything. You have to be patient in this. Now he's asking me store macro in. Where you want to store a macro? Macro can be stored in 3 places. The first is this workbook, which we will use now. This workbook means what? Simple, this file. It means macro will be saved in this file. Okay, a code will be saved in this file. The second is a new workbook, means it will create a new file, and in that all the codes will be saved so that you can send that file to some third person, third developer. Now over here there is one more thing, personal macro workbook. Many people uses this personal macro. What is personal macro workbook? When you save any macro in personal macro workbook, Excel creates one hidden file, XLSB, in that all this macro are saved. How it helps us? It helps us in that way that whenever you open any file, automatically you can run this macro in that file. Whenever you save in a personal macro workbook, you can apply this macro in any other file. You just open that file, press Ctrl M, macro will work. Okay. So as of now, I will take this workbook. In this workbook also, if you keep this file open and open another Excel file, macro will work in that. So I mostly prefer this workbook. Now the discussion is done, means the detail is done. Now the description for, just skip it, means who created this macro, what this macro will do, when it was created, how it works. You can put it in the description for other person to review it if you want. Just skip it. So only 3 things are important: name of a macro, the shortcut key, and where to store. That's all. Now I will complete in 5 minutes. Now I will say okay. As soon as I say okay, friends, my macro recording is going to start. So I say okay, and my recording has started. So it's like, means whatever you do, it is going to record. Okay, it's like a now CCTV camera. You do right, you do wrong, you do legal, you do illegal, everything is going to record over here. So don't do unwanted action, unnecessary scrolling up and down, zooming, going here and there. If you do all this thing, everything will be recorded. So don't do unwanted actions. Do only those actions which is required, because it's recording every step. Okay. So now I want, okay, my first task is my heading should be bold. For example, let's take a simple example. So I say Control Shift right. You see, I have used a shortcut. I came over here, I say Control Shift right. I use a shortcut. I have not used a mouse like this. I don't like mouse using. I always like a shortcut. If you use a mouse, in future, your macro will work only on that 5 rows. And in future, if you have more data, your macro will not work. If you want to make your macro dynamic, this is a trick which I am giving it, sharing it with you. Control Shift right. Always use a shortcut. I selected the heading and I say Control B. So now when I press Control Shift right and Control B for bold, Excel recorded that user has selected the row, user has pressed Control B, he has created the code behind it. I will show you the code also. Okay, so these 2 steps are recorded. Now I say Control Shift down, and now I go to the home. Now I'm using mouse, no problem. Only selection you use keyboard. For other things you use mouse, no problem. So I click on this center. So Excel recorded, that user selected this area and he did the center. This recorded. Everything is recording now. I selected the heading over here and I came over here and let me give some color. I gave this color. Excel recorded this. Again, I selected this. Again, I came over here. You can give some color to this. So all these things are recorded. I know formatting is not matching, just giving you the examples. Okay, so don't go on the color. So again, I selected the data and I go on the top and I say my font should be Times New Roman. Okay, my font size should be 12 size and I want the row height to be more. So I click on A1, Control Shift down, and I'm increasing the row height. And again, I'm doing center. It means I have done all this formatting. Now I have done how many steps? 10, 8 to 10, maximum 12 steps I have done. Okay. Like this, you can record more steps. There is no limitation. You will say, no, Ramzan, how many records? Record as many as you want. Increase the row height, change the format of the sales column. Like it's you wanted to add a decimal, add the decimal. You don't want a quantity column every time, just select and delete. You don't want the representative name also deleted. You want the data should be always sorted. So do all these things, no problem. Feel free. Okay. So I will stop over here. So what is the first step I did? I started the recording. What was the second step I did? I did now all these actions. Now, can you tell me what will be the third step? What will be the third step? The third step will be stop recording. The third step will be stop recording. Very good. Somebody replied, I have seen. So how do I stop the recording? Again, I go to the view and the place from where I started the recording, this area, I come here and I will say stop my recording. I click on it and your macro is done. You will say, yeah, done. Yes, done. So now you will say what happened, how it will help me. Now I will show you how it will help you. Before showing you that, first I will remove the formatting. So I select the data. Do you know how do you clear the formatting, friends? Very quickly, you go to the home, you select the data, go to the clear, and there is an option clear formats. This option here, and your formats are clear. And let me select the rows and let me double click and now my data became normal. My data became normal. Now I will show you the benefit of recording a macro. Now next day you came, okay, and your manager and you started formatting and you have already recorded a macro and you got a new file. Now you don't have to worry that okay, I have to do bold, I have to give the heading this color, font size, font style, increase the row, center align, all. Nothing you have to do. You just press the button and everything will work. So what was the shortcut which we have given? Can you tell me on the chat box? What was the shortcut I have given to run a macro? Okay, somebody replied. Let me check. Amazing. Yes. So you all are active, huh? Very good. Many people replied. So yes. So now I will put the cursor and I say Control M. As soon as I press Control M, you will see entire formatting will happen. See, I'm pressing Control M, everybody. Wow. Everything is done. It just took a fraction of a second and everything is done. This is the power. Now, this was my same data, but you will say, hey, Ramzan, next day I'm going to get some another data. So when I go over here, this is my new data, correct? And it has more columns, it has more rows. Now you see again, I will press Control M. I'm pressing Control M. And wow, on this also it applied everything. Lovely. Got it? Now I will go to the more bigger sheet, EX03. Now you might run a macro possible after 1 week and then you forgot only, shortcut only you forgot. Okay, what was the shortcut? Now how you will run a macro? So I will show you how do you first find the shortcut if you have forgot. And in case if you wanted to run macro in another way, how do you run a macro? First thing, if you forgot what was the shortcut, don't worry. You can find. You can go to the view, click on its drop down, and here you get one option, view macros. Can you see this option, view macros? I click on it. And over here, now friends, you get this option. See this button below delete options. So I will select the macro which I wanted to see the shortcut, which I have assigned and I have forgot. So I click on option and here it will show you, hey Ramzan, Control M is your shortcut. If you want to change, you change it. Okay. Let's say you have not given the shortcut only. Now how to run? Very simple. You go to the same place here. You say view macros over here. And then you select the macro and over here you get one option, run. Just click on run and your macro will run. See, as soon as I click on run, you see entire formatting will happen. Wow. So now I have done 12 steps. So 12 steps happen in second. Like this, if you had done 50 steps, it would have done in 1 or 2 seconds. This is the benefit of macro. So once again, I will tell you what was our intention. What does macro do? It records all your actions, right? So same thing happened over here. I recorded all your actions and then I press a button and my macro is working. My life became easy. This is the actual use of a macro. But this was a formatting macro, okay, which was easy to teach, which was easy to understand. Now you will say, hey Ramzan, I wanted to see the codes. Those of you who are interested, okay, then they will say, okay Ramzan, how do I see the code of a macro? So I will show you how do you see the code of a macro. Okay. So to see the code of a macro, don't fear after seeing the code. Okay. We are not going to learn that. So I click on a drop down over here. I click on a view macros. In this, friends, you select a macro of which you wanted to see the code and click on edit. If you wish to delete a macro, just say delete. Khalas, it will delete. Here I will say edit a macro. So as soon as I click on an edit macro, you will see, wow, this entire screen coding has come. So if you want to become a macros programmer, you have to learn all this coding, friends. So I teach all these codings also in a macros programming session when I take a Excel VBA session where I teach all these finance people, HR people, sales people, operation people, training and development team. How do you automate their report with the help of macros? There I teach this. But we get very less number of people because people are happy in doing VLOOKUP, pivot table, programming. Very less people go. Those who really wanted to automate, but mostly it is used in the banks where people want have lots of reports and they wish to automate. There it is used. Okay. So I will just close the screen. This was just for an idea that if you wanted to see the macro code, you go to the view macros, select and click on edit and you can see the macro code. Okay. So this way, friends, you can record a macro, you run a macro, you can delete a macro, you can find the shortcut for a macro, and you can even see the code of a macro. I will take one more thing for you. We will do one more exercise so you understand. I will not close the session. We will take one more exercise. Let's say if I tell you now, okay, I wanted to remove the formatting, entire color formatting I wanted to remove. How you will remove? You will have two steps, three steps. You will say, Ramzan, select the data, go to the home, go to the clear and say clear format. Correct? Over here you will say. Now, for this also you can create a macro that whenever you press Ctrl J or any other shortcut, automatically your formatting macro, clear macro will run, means the formatting will be cleared. Let's give it a try. So you will get refresh also and you will get a new concept also. Okay, let's do it. So I wanted to create a clear macro. Simple. So you understand. What will be the first step? The first step will be you will go to the view and you will click on the macros and you will click on record a macro. First step here. Give a name macro. So for say clearing, what is the shortcut? Ctrl J. Where you want to store this workbook? Khalas. Okay, now you know. So I can go fast here. I say okay. Now I will select the data. When I selected the data, Excel recorded that user has selected the data. Then I go to the home. I click on clear and I say clear formats. This one. Now when I click on it, the Excel recorded this, right? That's all. And now I will just stop. So I go to the view, macro and stop. Only 2-3 steps I just recorded. That's all. Stop. Khalas. Now when I go here and your manager says, hey, can you just clear the formatting? You don't have to worry. You don't have to manually. Just say Control J. See, I'm pressing Control J. Control J. Formatting has been clear. I go over here and again I say, for example, Control J. I will show you one small thing which you might not observe over here. You see the column number B. Column number B. I have zoomed it. It is a date column. When I say format clear, Control J, you see he has cleared the color. That's okay, but he has cleared the date format also, which was my main thing. So date formatting is removed. Now you will say, Ramzan, now how I will bring it back? Very simple. You select the data and from the keyboard, you press a shortcut. Control Shift 3. Very beautiful shortcut. I use regularly. You will also use this when you have. It will convert this into the date format. It's original date format. So I say Control Shift 3. Control Shift 3. Wow, it has become format. I think the same thing happened over here in EX02. You see this first purchase date. Here also he removed. So I say select Control Shift 3. Amazing. So your became normal. Got it, friends? So this way you can record a macro. Again, if I wanted to format, now I don't have to worry. What I will press, I say Control M and my macro is done. So this way, friends, you can record a macro, you can run a macro, you can create a shortcut for the macro, you can edit the macro, you can create the clear macro. Now, what is the next step? The next step is if you will say, okay, Ramzan, if I want a button to run a macro and a button to clear the formatting, how do I do that? To do that, friends, you have to go to the developer tab. This is the developer tab. First, though, in some of your Excel, you might not get the developer tabs. You have to bring it. From where to bring? You have to go to the file. You have to go to this option. I will go from here directly. It will be easier for you. Right click and I say customize the ribbon here on the top. And here you get one option developer. You have to enable that. Now mine is enabled. Your will be disabled. Right click, customize the ribbon, enable the developer, and you get this. This is basically use of programming and all. So I will show you how do you create a button. So I go to the insert. I click on it, for example, on this button over here, and I will select up, create one small button, and I will leave. Automatically, it will tell me, hey, assign a macro to that button. I say I wanted to assign a formatting macro. Okay. And let me change the name. So I say formatting, or I can say run formatting. Khalas, done. Now let me create one more for you. I say insert. Again, I come on this form and I say I want another button over here. For what you want? I want a clearing macro. Okay. And let's type something over here and I will say clear. That's all. That's all, friend. Now you see, I come over here, I click on clear. It's clearing. I say run formatting, it's running. I say clear. I say run. It's not very simple to record and run a macro. It's not as simple to create a button to run a macro. So see again, clear the macro, run the form. Like this, you can create lots of macro for your office. You can automate your routine work in your office so that you can pay more attention on some productive task instead of doing all this small regular task and wasting your time. Got it, friends? Now I'm recording this and I will share it with you so that you can practice at your home. If you want macros this file, I can also share the file with you so that you can open the same file, practice and then apply on your data. Now the last point I will take. What is the last point? You created a macro. Now what? After creating a macro, you have to save this file, right? Till now, whenever you create a Excel file, it creates what extension? XLSX. See over here, XLSX, PPTX, DOCX. This you all know. Now, when you create a macro, now you can't save file with this extension. You have to change this extension to XLSM. Okay. See, I'm doing now. I'm pressing Control S. So it will not save. It will tell me to save it as macro enabled file. So I click on no. I go to the browse and over here, save as type. I will say save it as macro enabled workbook. So I will click over here on macro enabled. That's all. Remember this. Save after recording a macro. If you have a code in that, make sure to click on save it as macro enabled. Otherwise, your macro will be deleted in that from that file. Remember this. So I click on it and my file is saved. Now next time, now I will show you one more interesting thing. Now this is this file. Let me open another file in front of you. I go to the file and I'm opening a very different file. So for example, I go to the open and I say browse and I go to the day one. These are the files which I use when I train in corporates. Day one, day two file. I open a conditional formatting file. Okay. Now as you see, I come on this sheet and I'm just running that macro. Control M. My macro has run on this file also. This was the conditional formatting. He didn't remove whatever macro run on this. So any file you just open and it will work on that file, provided your main macro file is open. Okay, friends. So this was all about how do you record, run, and do the macro. Okay. So if you have any kinds of query, you can write me personally. I will reply on that. And I will stop the macros recording now, this video recording now, so that file does not become very heavy, and I will share it on the WhatsApp group. Especially I will try to share it on a Telegram channel also. Okay, so I'm just saying stop